It's been a little over a week, almost 2 weeks since the shooting of Alex Preddy, and also about 2 weeks since the last video I did breaking down that shooting. A lot of the initial information that came out has been changed. More camera angles have come out. And although it has only been about 2 weeks, the news cycle seemed to move on. We haven't got any official statements, I believe, from DHS or Border Patrol. Let me rephrase that. There's been no definitive statements about the shooting itself, and only the shooting itself, as to how it pertains to their investigation of deciding whether or not it was a lawful shoot. So there's no official position there yet from DHS or Border Patrol. In other slightly related news, Bongino is the FBI guy. Greg Bovino has relinquished control of the, let's call it the Minnesota front, whether it was willingly or unwillingly, somewhat yet to be determined. You don't know the extent of the behind the scenes affairs of the administration, but he has relinquished control to Tom Homan, who seems to be moving in and trying to negotiate ways to turn down the temperature, it seems. Protests are still very lively and, happening. Very much a thing in Minneapolis. They are also spreading to other parts of the country, other areas such as like New York, Texas, Oregon, Illinois, I believe as well. I know a lot of it is going on in Texas because ICE seems to be shifting focus into Texas, not as much as, the big wave that you see going into other places like Minneapolis, because Texas is actually assisting in operations with ICE. So there's no need for like the same tactics that they do as they do in Minnesota, because in Minnesota, because of the protests, because of the people following them, because of like everything going on, it really amplifies the situation and creates just a very unsafe situation to linger. A lot of the operations that are going on are very much a snatch and grab. And as bad as it sounds, as bad as it looks optic-wise, I mean, this is why people say people are being kidnapped. They're not being kidnapped. It's just that there is no time to actually go out and do things in a more traditional way that have better optics. They kind of have to grab the person and get out before 500 people show up and start punching their tires and breaking their windows, and they have to let the guy go. So to avoid that, they just pull up, grab a guy, and dip. And that's kind of what you're seeing a lot happening in Minneapolis. But anyway, optics aside, this was kind of just me touching back on the whole Alex Preddy situation and giving sort of like my closing final thoughts. That first video, I'm not going to lie, was pretty rushed. I still stand by a lot of what I said there, though. Namely, what I ended with, in which when you put yourself in a life or death situation, death might just be the outcome. And unfortunately, that was what happened. Going back, I'm not going to play any of the videos in this video because the other video was age restricted, and I believe that really hurt its reach because at the time I made a short as well, and the short instantly popped off. So showing just how much the age restriction kind of took away from that. But it's not the end of the world. It's fine. It's not like I'm a huge somebody. I'm a nobody. So it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. I'm just here now at the moment to kind of give my closing thoughts on it and maybe delve into a little other things. I watched many other content creators and their analysis of the situation. A lot of them share quite a few similarities. There are some differences as well, as expected with anything. I'm not going to name names in particular, just because, there's really no reason to. It's a collection of many people, many perspectives. And I think that's important, to get as many perspectives as possible for anything, really, not just in this regard. One key thing that nobody else ever caught on, though, is when I enhance the audio in my video, which I will play the audio here. You can hear the one agent shouting, "I got it, I got it, I got it." Then you hear the gun, gun, gun. And then you hear another agent go, "Gun, gun." And then the first shot is fired. Now, whether it was a malfunction on the SIG's part, as a very popular theory at the moment, or was the first agent reacting to seeing the weapon unholstered and not knowing whose hand was on that weapon, we don't know as of yet. As I said, the statements from the agents or statements from DHS have not come out in regards to that aspect or addressing any of those issues or seeing what's going on in that regard. So for now, all we have is speculation. I'm still in the camp of this being a lawful but awful situation. A series of unfortunate events lined up that led to a firearm going off, which triggered the agents to then eliminate what they perceive to be a threat. All in all, events are transpiring at a rapid pace, with the level of violence escalating drastically. Quite frankly, I don't see things slowing down anytime soon, even with attempts from Big Gov to turn the temperature down. The far left staunchly believes they are in an active civil war. Or maybe not even a civil war. They see themselves more as a resistance group, a rebellion against what they perceive to be fascist overreach. Since the events with Alex Preddy transpired, we've seen many more videos coming from Minneapolis. One in particular that comes to mind was a person who tried to throw a flashbang back at police, unsuccessfully. And while we may look at that and laugh and think, what a stupid retard, it's also quite terrifying and quite telling of the state of mind of these people. As I said before, they believe they are actively at war, in rebellion, in resistance against a fascist overreach. The level of dedication these people have, honestly, is akin to that of Al-Qaeda's suicide bombers. Honestly, these are the people, the type of people that could be recruited to be suicide bombers. And suicide bombers aren't doing it because they want to die, unlike the majority of the rest of us, but they believe in a cause so greatly that they are willing to give their life for that cause. And this is exactly what the far left is demonstrating. And many of us aren't taking them seriously, are kind of laughing at them. And to some extent, yeah, I mean, it is pretty funny seeing people be retarded. But a lot of us on the right kind of use this saying, ape together strong. That also applies to them. Together, they can be strong as well. They don't even have to be trained or good at anything. They just have to be in the way. They just have to be there and believe in their own cause. A good little cog in the machine for their greater cause, because someone will always be there to take charge. And we're actively seeing that happening. If you take a look at the Signal leaks that have been going on, their Signal group chats got leaked, infiltrated by journalists, and they are organized. They are beyond organized. And organization to this level did not just appear overnight. This has been steadily brewing for a while. This has been brewing possibly since the Free Palestine movement. Fuck ICE is just the new Free Palestine. It's the same people, the same tactics, now just escalated and pushed further because they saw how far they could get with Free Palestine. Now they need to see how far they can get again. And it's going to continue to escalate and escalate until there is no going back. And we are at war. It was widely speculated at the time that Hamas had infiltrated the Free Palestine movement here in America. It is well known that there were Hamas cells operating in America that came in through the southern border during Biden's presidency. Now, if Hamas learned anything from their struggle with Israel, they learned the optics game. They learned how to make the world feel sorry for them and support their cause and their movement. Meanwhile, the values of their movement mirror that of the Taliban or Al-Qaeda. Can you imagine for a second if the world rallied behind Al-Qaeda the way they rallied behind Hamas? I would say the same for the Taliban, but America has gladly handed them millions and millions of dollars as well as the entire country of Afghanistan, so... But back to my main point. Low-level insurgency has been present in America for quite some time now. Their network has been spreading and growing, and only now are we just seeing it come to light. A lot of people often ask the question, what would civil war look like in America? Would it be state versus state? National guards versus national guards? Would it mirror more a revolution of certain states rebelling against Big Gov? Would the government keep hands off and let the states settle it themselves? Would it even fall down to the states, or would it be neighbor versus neighbor? If things were to get kinetic at the moment, I believe we'd be looking at something that mirrors more the IRA. Now, not to completely disparage the IRA and comparing them to these leftists, though they were also socialists, at least they actually had banger songs. Now, what I'm trying to say is that if we looked at the left as its own entity, divided as they are, modern conflict with them as the main adversary would be something akin to the Troubles in 1960s to the 1980s, where you have a very small but organized force going up using guerrilla tactics against a larger government. Now, things start getting a bit more interesting when you take into account that they actually have the backing of certain political powers. Tim Walz, Gavin Newsom, Ilhan Omar. A lot of these people also have certain elements of power and control that they can use to sway over possible control of their own states or their respective states' National Guard. This is where we start looking at possible army versus army conflict. And what does that mean for the rest of us, the regular citizens who aren't the enemy on the left, and aren't part of the National Guard on the right. Well, you and I will still have to go to work. We'll still have to pay our bills. We'll still have to do our taxes, all while the country is crumbling around us. Now, I know I've kind of spun off and gone into a bunch of different tangents on different topics. As I said, this video wasn't really anything in particular, just kind of giving a final closing thoughts on the whole Alex Preddy situation, as well as thoughts on how things might continue or how I perceive them to possibly continue. We are living in unprecedented times, and nobody really knows what's going to happen next. All it takes is a single spark to ignite a powder keg. And once that keg is ignited, you're going to have to pick a side. History has shown us that there is no fence sitting in civil conflicts. You have to pick what side you're on, or it will be decided for you. And when that decision comes, as much as you want to be left alone, in active conflict, you do not get the luxury of being left alone. So it may be in your best interest to pick a side now. Find a tribe, find like-minded people you can trust with your life. Because one day, you just might have to.